Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says he will not surrender to pressure amid growing calls for him to agree to a deal to end the conflict in Gaza. The Israeli Prime Minister spoke against the backdrop of the largest protests his government has seen since the outbreak of the war in Gaza on 7 October, as anger over the failure to get hostages home safely intensifies. Netanyahu also vowed that Israel will not give up control of the Philadelphi corridor in Gaza, a narrow piece of land in southern Gaza which leads to its border with Egypt, which he described as Hamas's lifeline. At least more than millions of people are estimated to have taken to the streets of Israel on Sunday to express anger at his government's failure to secure a ceasefire deal after the 6 hostages were found dead in an underground tunnel in Gaza on Saturday. To unpack this, we're joined by a journalist, Rolene Marks. Hello, Rolene. Thank you for joining us. All right, so if you can hear me, how would you describe the overall mood among the citizens following the recent protests for ceasefire? What sentiments are most prevalent?
Well, first of all, there is a deep sense of grief and mourning in Israel. Just to remind your viewers that the 6 hostages whose bodies were recovered by our IDF troops on Sunday were not found dead. They were executed, according to the forensic pathologists, by Hamas about 48 hours before our IDF troops were able to locate them, and very, very close to where a Bedouin Israeli was rescued by the IDF last week. It is absolutely shattering to Israeli society that these 6 hostages, Hirsch, Ori, Alex, Almog, Carmel, and Eden, were murdered in so brutal a manner by Hamas, a terrorist organization. And we know from information that has been released that at least 3 of them were on the list of hostages to be released in this first phase of a 45-day ceasefire. So I think also what seems to be communicated around the world is not the entire full picture. Yes, Israelis are mourning. We are in a deep sense of grief and fury that this has happened. But the anger is also not solely leveled at Prime Minister Netanyahu. There is also a lot of anger at the international community, who for months said, do not go into Rafah, do not go into Rafah. And these hostages were found murdered in Rafah, very, very deep inside a tunnel. Now, the ceasefire that is being discussed is not a ceasefire to end the war. I think we need to be very clear about that. It is a 45-day ceasefire, which would see the first phase of remaining hostages released, and what Hamas is demanding in return is that Israel vacate not just the entire strip. Our troops are still in the Gaza Strip, which no country, I think, would agree to, but that we vacate the Philadelphi corridor. Now, that little stretch of land that is between southern Gaza and Egypt is extremely critical, because at least 150 tunnels have been found there, and this provides the opportunity for Hamas to receive weapons and money and whatever goods smuggled in from Egypt's side of the border. Now, it also must be noted that Hamas routinely turn down these ceasefire agreements, and where we are seeing some disparity in Israel is that the security establishment feel that we are in a position, having committed significant defeats to Hamas, destroyed the majority of their battalions and their capability, that we are able to vacate the Philadelphia.
Okay, Rolene.
table for now.
Yeah.
And if need be, if Hamas resurges after that, we can go in and take care of the issue.
All
But
right,
the real issue.
Rolene. Yeah, but what has been Prime Minister Netanyahu's response, to all of this, especially to the protests, as we can see, both in terms of public statements and also policy actions?
Well, first of all, what you are seeing is Israeli democracy in action. This is Israel, a robust and vibrant democracy with the rights of citizens to express themselves. And I think also a lot of it is an expression of grief. And the only place that Israelis can really take our grief out against is the government. But there is a lot of anger towards the Prime Minister by many who say that the army, the security establishment have told you that we can leave Philadelphi off the table for now and just focus on the hostages. And there is a feeling that he is being inflexible on that. And that is where the anger is coming from. And his response is the Philadelphia is too critical an area to vacate. And he's not prepared to bow to pressure on that.
Okay. Well, thank you so much, Rolene, for joining us on the news and speaking on this.